Ben ritrovati. Adesso continuiamo col nostro programma speciale dedicato alla Giuria e adesso vedremo alcune scene prese dalle loro opere e successivamente continueremo con le interviste ai nostri giurati.
Okay, now Catherine Breillat will be interviewed by Gabriele Gamberini.
Adesso avremo l'intervista di Catherine Breillat, intervistata da Gabriele Gamberini.
Buonasera a tutti, sono molto lieta di salutarvi a nome dell'Alliance Française de Venise, il centro culturale francese di Venezia, e sono molto grata a Roberta Novielli di avermi dato questa bellissima possibilità di incontrare Catherine Breillat e di dialogare con lei, anche seppur brevemente. Allora farò le domande in francese a Catherine Breillat, poi vi tradurrò in italiano le sue risposte. Je vais leur lire la première question que je vais vous poser en italien. Siccome è stata sempre molto sensibile alla presenza del corpo e della sessualità nel suo film, in quanto scrittrice e anche in quanto regista, vorrei tornare su una frase di lei che trovo estremamente interessante a proposito dell'amore e della sessualità sullo schermo. Lei dice: lo spettatore deve fare il suo lavoro, se non vede niente immagina tutto. E vorrei anche soprattutto soffermarmi sulla frase che Catherine Breillat ha pronunciato durante il montaggio del film Romance, di cui avete visto un breve passaggio. Il cinema è credere quello che si è visto, mentre si tratta di cose che abbiamo vissuto. Alors, la question que je voulais vous poser, Catherine Breillat, comme vous accordez beaucoup d'importance au corps et à la sexualité dans votre travail, aussi bien en tant qu'écrivain que comme metteur en scène.
À l'interdit, j'accorde de l'importance.
Oui. Voilà. Je voulais revenir sur une phrase qui est très intéressante à mon avis. Vous dites, le spectateur doit faire son travail. S'il ne voit rien, il imagine tout. Et je voudrais surtout m'arrêter sur la phrase que vous avez eue pendant le montage de Romance. Le cinéma, c'est croire qu'on a vu, alors qu'il s'agit de choses qu'on a vécues. Est-ce que vous pourriez développer cette idée?
C'est-à-dire qu'au moment où j'ai fait Romance, j'avais décidé que, alors que la loi française ne le permettait pas, que je n'aurais aucun interdit. Que donc je filmerais ce que je m'étais toujours interdit de filmer, par exemple dans Sale comme un ange, je me débrouille très 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 bien pour faire des plans qui sont en un seul plan, où par exemple Claude Brasseur se déshabille et on ne le voit jamais nu parce que la caméra va et vient. Et l'ellipse est que le spectateur est persuadé par exemple qu'un acteur s'est déshabillé alors que ce n'est pas vrai, qu'on l'a trompé. Il y a un côté magicien dans le cinéma. Donc on fait croire au spectateur qu'il a vu, et il peut d'ailleurs sortir en disant qu'il a vu une scène mais terriblement choquante. Et par ailleurs, quand la scène est vraiment choquante, bon, c'est pas intéressant de choquer pour choquer. Donc il faut quand même le mettre dans une émotion où finalement c'est autre chose qu'il va voir. Je trouve que c'est intéressant la manipulation mentale, et que le cinéma, le metteur en scène, soit comme un magicien qui fait croire que des colombes sortent des chapeaux.
Allora, quando ha girato il film Romance, lei sperava che finalmente avrebbe potuto, che non ci sarebbe nulla di vietato, che avrebbe potuto girare veramente come lo desiderava, mentre negli altri film non era stato possibile. Per esempio nel film Sale come un ange, letteralmente sporco come un angelo, l'attore Claude Brasseur non si spoglia mai in realtà, non si vede mai nudo, ma lo spettatore all'uscita del film è convinto di averlo visto nudo, e questa è la magia del cinema. Il regista è come una specie di mago che riesce a fare credere cose che non ha fatto vedere, ma che lo spettatore è convinto di avere visto. Naturalmente scioccare per scioccare non ha nessuna forma di interesse. L'importante per lei è mettere lo spettatore in un'emozione, suscitare in lui un'emozione. Nel cinema c'è dunque una forma di manipolazione mentale nella quale il regista è come un mago che fa uscire colombe dal suo capello. La seconda domanda che volevo fare a Catherine Breillat, siccome lei ha giocato ruoli molto diversi nel mondo del cinema, è stata regista, sceneggiatrice, attrice, volevo chiederle se per lei tutte queste attività si completano o se ce n'è una che lei préférise, che predilige. Alors Catherine Breillat, comme vous avez joué énormément de rôles différents dans le monde du cinéma, puisque vous avez été metteur en scène, actrice, scénariste.
Oh, actrice, pas beaucoup quand même.
Oui, mais quand même. Et est-ce que ce sont des activités qui se complètent parfaitement pour vous, ou est-ce qu'il y en a que vous privilégiez?
Ah non, la seule et unique que je privilégie, c'est de faire mes films sur mes propres scénarios. Mais quand j'étais petite, j'ai décidé d'être metteur en scène. Pour être metteur en scène en France, je ne pouvais pas faire une école de cinéma parce que, à cette époque-là, si on était une fille, le directeur de l'école, de l'IDEC, avait dit qu'il ne voulait pas me prendre comme metteur en scène parce qu'il ferait de moi une chômeuse, qu'il fallait que je sois soit monteuse, soit script. Enfin infirmière, mais pas médecin, si vous préférez. Et donc, la seule manière d'avoir de l'argent, c'était d'écrire. D'abord de publier un livre, parce que ça c'est facile, on achète une rame de papier blanc, et ensuite d'écrire son scénario et de demander de l'argent sur le scénario. Donc je suis devenue scénariste par nécessité pour moi. Après, je l'ai fait beaucoup pour les autres parce qu'en fait, les gens aimaient bien mes scénarios, mais ne voulaient surtout pas que je mette en scène. Donc c'est pas une période que j'adore absolument. J'appelle ça vendre son âme au diable, parce qu'un scénario c'est rien. C'est un outil de travail très performant pour avoir l'argent, pour convaincre les acteurs, pour se convaincre soi-même, pour faire le plan de travail, pour que l'assistant puisse travailler dessus. Mais quoi? On peut très bien avoir un très beau scénario et un très mauvais film. Ce qui compte, c'est le film. Le scénario, c'est rien. J'en ai quand même publié 2.
Allora, la cosa più importante per lei, l'unica cosa importante nel cinema è fare cinema a partire dalle sue proprie sceneggiature. Quando era piccola voleva diventare regista, ma il direttore della scuola del cinema francese, l'IDEC, siccome era una donna, le ha detto: lei non può diventare regista perché per lei è come diventare disoccupata, cioè sarà di sicuro disoccupata. Lei può fare solo montaggio di film o scrivere sceneggiature. Quindi, come dice Catherine Breillat, poteva diventare infermiera ma non medico. E quindi l'unico modo di guadagnarsi da vivere era scrivere sceneggiature, perché lì basta comprare una risma di carta e uno si mette al lavoro. Quindi ha cominciato a scrivere sceneggiature per sé, poi anche per altri registi, perché le sue sceneggiature venivano apprezzate, ma come dice lei era un po' come vendere la sua anima al diavolo. Per lei l'importante è veramente fare film, la sceneggiatura ha pochissima importanza, si può fare un pessimo film con un'ottima sceneggiatura, l'importante è fare il film. La dernière question, Catherine Breillat. Donc, vous êtes à la fois romancière et réalisatrice, donc deux formes d'écriture différentes. Et là aussi, est-ce que l'une nourrit l'autre ou est-ce que... attendez, je traduis juste en
Je pense...
Pardon, je traduis ma question in italien, juste un instant.
Oui.
L'ultima domanda che ho fatto a Catherine Breillat, lei è sia scrittrice sia regista e volevo sapere se anche qui predilige una forma di scrittura o quale sia la differenza tra l'una e l'altra.
Ah oui, si je privilégie l'une ou l'autre, c'est ça. C'est-à-dire que je pense que je suis un meilleur metteur en scène, plus unique qu'un écrivain. Je le regrette, j'aimerais bien être les deux, mais quand même, je ne pense pas que je sois un grand écrivain, et je pense que j'ai par contre une écriture cinématographique qui est la mienne. On peut aimer ou ne pas aimer mes films, mais ils ont une signature. Mes livres, beaucoup moins. Donc, par nécessité, je dirais, je considère que ce qui est vraiment important pour moi, c'est de faire des films. Et puis, j'aime ça, j'aime ce côté où on sculpte de la chair humaine, finalement. Parce que moi, je considère les acteurs énormément comme ma terre glaise, mes objets, ceux avec quoi c'est... Je me considère comme un peintre. Quand je fais des films, c'est comme de la peinture, mais de la peinture qui se mettrait à vivre. Et donc s'il y a quelque chose, il faut arracher 3 minutes de vie par jour au néant. Et c'est génial, moi j'adore ça. Il faut faire le cadre, il faut emmener... enfin oui, c'est ça que j'aime, c'est ça qui me fait vraiment vivre, quoi. C'est là où je suis vivante. Et vampire.
Merci. Dunque, Catherine Breillat pensa di essere una regista migliore, cioè è più brava a fare la regista che non a essere scrittrice, cosa che naturalmente rimpiange, ma deve riconoscere che la sua scrittura cinematografica ha uno stile molto più marcato che non la sua scrittura come nei suoi romanzi. Per lei la cosa più bella nella vita è veramente fare film e come essere scultore, le sembra di scolpire la carne umana. Per lei un attore è come argilla che può plasmare come vuole e si vede anche come una pittrice, cioè una pittrice che fa quadri che cominciano ad avere vita e che si mettono a vivere. Per lei la cosa più bella in assoluto, la grande passione che la regge in vita è il fatto di poter strappare ogni giorno anche solo 3 minuti di vita al nulla. Questa è la cosa che le suscita le più forti emozioni nella sua vita. Merci Catherine Breillat.
Now it's the turn of Małgorzata Zajączkowska. Sorry for my bad pronunciation.
Adesso è il turno di Małgorzata Zajączkowska.
Now our director will be interviewed by our professor Flavio Gregori.
Adesso la nostra giurata verrà intervistata dal professor Flavio Gregori.
Okay, Małgorzata. Well, thank you very much for being here, first of all.
Thank you for invitation. It's a great pleasure.
Well, a few words on the film which we have just seen, which is a lovely film on filmmaking and on redeeming power of filmmaking and acting.
Yeah, it was movie done a couple of years ago, and was a debut of this director. And in Poland it's very popular that if somebody has a good script but no money, can ask a good actor to do the work for him. And if the script is good and we like the concept of the movie, we are doing that almost without money.
You were telling me before that the leading role, the grandmother, has been played by somebody who had never done this for films before, but she's
a very well known actress, stage actress, and in this movie she was like 75 or 76, and that was her film debut.
What about your
Excuse me, she won a lot of rewards for internationally for this role.
For this one.
Yeah.
And what about yourself? How do you relate to this film, or to the concept of this film?
When Marcin Borkiewicz, the director, came to me and asked me to take part in this movie, he explained the whole idea. Why he wants to do this movie, why he wrote the movie this way. And suddenly I felt that I would love to be a part of this project. And it wasn't very easy, because in the beginning the Polish government for Film Society didn't want to give him the money. So he fought like for 6-7 months. Finally he got it. We made it, the movie was made like in 5 days, 4-5 days. And then we were invited to Cannes Festival for Kenzan section. And we had a lot of fun over there.
There are a few references in the film to film, so it's a parody. In the end, it's wonderful. I mean, when they play in the end of Nosferatu, it's really fun.
Kieślowski, Polański, a lot of...
And there are two Polish filmmakers mentioned, Polanski and Kieślowski. Have you worked with them, or have you sort of known them?
No, I haven't. I've known them, but I wasn't fortunate enough to work with them.
But you work with Agnieszka Holland.
With Wajda and Agnieszka Holland, yeah. So Agnieszka was debuting at the same time like Kieślowski, and Kieślowski is like icon in Poland. So that's why I think director made some references, because he's quite important director to him.
And what about Polanski?
Polański, of course.
Is he understood as a Polish or as an American filmmaker?
No, absolutely, he's Polish filmmaker. Yeah,
Poland,
that's why a lot of young people in Poland can relate to him, to his imagination, language, not because he made a career on the West, but because his way of thinking is very close to Poland, but it's not isolated from the West.
I see.
And this is, I think, the best the best whole thing, that if you know your roots, but at the same time you are open to all other countries and possibilities.
Let's talk about yourself, if you don't mind. You worked both in Poland, then you moved to the United States. So you have an experience with both, let's say, the Polish filmmaking system and the American one. What are the similarities and what are the differences, so far as you noticed?
Right now, because the market changed in Poland, of course, and it's much more commercial, it's much more difficult to make a movie which is like studio movie, the small, movie. Every producer run after commercial stuff. And in States, of course, everything is in bigger order. And everything is covered with union rules. And I think still in States it's much harder to find people who are willing to lose money for artistic things.
And from the point of view of acting,
Acting-
did you apply the same
Well,
techniques or?
I have an accent, and so it's obvious that my body language, my look, and the way I think about certain situations are not American. So I never pretended to be somebody from Kansas City or Houston. So I was always playing somebody who came from Europe. And I was very fortunate to work with people who have great respect for the craft. And very often we were sitting and talking about just the craft.
I think I have time for just one more question. The question is, are you working on any project right now as an actress or as a producer? Or
Yeah, we with the same director we applied for the money, and next week we should have an answer. The other thing I'm doing, I direct the play of Shakespeare, Midsummer Night, in opera in Warsaw with young people, and I'm going to Luxembourg to play Mother of Pola Negri. The German-French cooperation are doing mini-series about that, and they asked me to be Pola's mom.
okay, thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Warm-hearted wishes for you.
Thank you.
Okay, so now to introduce the program of Barry Purvis, we are calling on stage Davide Giurlando, which is our cinema animation expert.
Adesso chiamiamo sul palco un esperto di cinema animato, Davide Giurlando, che ci introdurrà l'opera di Barry Purvis.
Thank you for being here. I won't take much of your time. I'm simply here to announce the titles of the movies which you'll see. That is Plume and one episode from Twirly Woods. You're about to enter a world of darkness and a world of light. And we'll talk about these movies later with our master animator, Mr. Barry Purvis. Thank you.
So we are now calling on stage Barry Purvis that will be interviewed by Davide Giurlando.
Adesso chiamiamo sul palco David Purvis, che verrà intervistato da Davide Giurlando.
Good evening.
thank you for being here. As you know, it's always a pleasure to talk about your movies with you. And if you agree, let's start with Darkness. Let's start with Plume. What was the mindset and how you created it?
The thinking behind Plume was to make a film with very little. Budgets are so hard to get, and I wanted to see if I could make a film with one puppet mainly and tell a big dark story. A lot of my films have to do with Shakespeare or Tchaikovsky or Verdi. This had nothing. It was just a man with wings. And it was a dark film, a very dark film. But it looked fantastic up there, yeah.
It's a fantastic movie, in fact. And what about the themes of suffering and which are
we were talking that films are cathartic. Art is cathartic. If that film is about something, it is about surviving trauma. I wrote it as a result of my mother dying, and I thought, how do I go on from that? You have to find a joy even though your life is different. And I thought the idea of flying and swimming were similar. It was also at a time, I wrote it when CG was threatening to put me out of work. I was on a film called Mars Attacks, and the stop motion was suddenly replaced by computer. And I thought, that's it, I'm never going to work. So this is a film trying to acknowledge, trying to embrace technology. But I think as it's turned out, puppets will always be around, especially looking in Venice, puppets are everywhere. But I think the difference now is a puppet doesn't have to pretend to be real life. A puppet is now allowed to be a puppet, I think. And I make no apologies when I work with puppets that they're not realistic necessarily, I think. Enjoy the puppet, yes. All films should enjoy an element of artifice, and theatre should enjoy artifice, I think.
And what about Twirlywoos, about the light, the world of light, and the episodes?
Twirlywoos is what I am shooting at the moment. We have made 100 episodes of Twirlywoos. It keeps you young, keeps you very young, to work with those characters every day. And it's a very challenging program, deceptively challenging, putting puppets into live action, but also some of the shots in that one, there was a 2.5-minute shot, which in reality means we start in 1 month and finish 5 weeks later. You hope the lights don't blow or nobody falls over the set. But to do, what I love about stop motion is it's as near to acting as you can get. You can't redo it. It's like if I came on playing Hamlet, I know the words, I know the story, I know the costume, but I've never done it. And, as a stop motion puppet, you know everything, but you get one chance to do it. You have to get it right. You have to do your homework. And I love that adrenaline. I sometimes act, and I love the adrenaline of coming on stage. You can't mess it up. You have to get it right. And also what I love with puppets is it's a relationship. You cannot tell a puppet what to do. You shouldn't. You should work with a puppet like you're working with a fellow actor. The puppet gives something, you give something. The puppet responds to the lighting. He may be walking into the light and not quite get the light, so you have to take him a bit further. It's there, and that is the best technology you will ever, ever, ever have. Don't let us ever lose that, I think.
And what about animation for children? Because Hollywood is meant for just
3-year-olds.
Yeah.
3-year-olds. I treat it the same as I would treat one of my films, with as much homework, as much detail, as much responsibility of rhythm and storytelling. It has to be all about the storytelling. And what I've enjoyed this week, watching so many live action films and animation films, and when you're with animation, you have to make every frame. You cannot afford to have a frame in your film that doesn't contribute to the film. You can't afford it, simply. And sometimes when live action films, I think we could probably all agree, sometimes they're a bit indulgent, or they go on for a bit long. And I often think, no, you could say that quicker with a metaphor or something. I think animation can tell a story with more ease, with more economy. You can use every element in animation to tell the story. Every color is there for a reason. Every blink, every movement, every edit is there for a reason. And I love animation. I've been doing it 40 years, and I've been angry, I've been frustrated. I've never been bored. I love this job. And to come to Venice and to talk about animation is fantastic.
Thank you. And I just thought that, in fact, I don't know if you agree, but maybe Plume can be considered a tragedy, and Twirly was as a comedy. I was just thinking about the theater, but
I have a comedy tragedy.
True.
I've always worn this comedy tragedy ring. Life is comedy and it is tragedy. Yes, I'm in Venice, and I'm getting to the end of my career. What is missing is a feature film. Above anything, I want to do a feature film. And as it happens, I do have a completed written script set in Venice. Please let me make it. Let me come to Venice and make it. It's a really unique film with no language barriers. It's all about storytelling and everything I love. And it's set in Venice. You can all come and be in it.
And what about the masks? I know it's not there aren't many masks in these two movies,
in that film, yes.
But in fact they are pretty common in your works. So
I love masks, and I'm in Venice. How happy am I? But what I love about masks, they are a device that not so much conceals, but actually reveals. They are like a red nose on a clown that allows you to be anything you want to be. It allows you to lose your inhibitions. And I think all art is that. All singers can say things through song that they couldn't do before. In all our films, we need to find that device that allows us to talk about ourselves. In that lovely film we've just watched, it was talking to the camera. That was a device that allowed the characters to talk. La La Land has just been around. The music in La La Land allowed the artifice to happen. And at the end of La La Land, they have that huge musical number of what could have been. And that is the mask in all. We need this mask, this device that allows us to release ourselves, whether it's being a superhero or somebody in drag or a period film or a time travel, and that is what a mask is. And I will say my favorite quote from Oscar Wilde: "Man is least himself when he talks in his own voice. Give him a mask and he'll tell you the truth. Give him a puppet, he'll tell you the truth. Give him a camera, give him a stage." We're not very good at talking about ourselves, but if we go to a pub, I'll say, "David, have a drink. Tell me about your life." That's a mask. It's a contract between ourselves to say, it's okay, you can tell me anything. It's a device, and we have to find that in our storytelling, I think.
Okay. What can I say? Thank you. Thank you for being here and for all of your wonderful, wonderful works.
Thank you. Thank you to Venice. Thank you very much.
That's it.